For most people in the world, the economy is the number one concern. Some leaders fear that the transition will make them less competitive in the global markets and slow down economic growth. These concerns have real consequences. In December 2025, the European Commission watered down its landmark plan to ban petrol and diesel car production by 2035. The German and Italian governments claim there are too many hurdles to meet that goal, including low consumer demand, limited electric vehicle charging infrastructure, and fierce competition from Chinese manufacturers, even with tariffs in place. They argue that an aggressive transition would harm the auto industry, which contributes to 5% of Germany's GDP. Yet, others argue that delaying the transition risks forfeiting Europe's long-term competitiveness and growth. Meanwhile, in the US, the federal government is betting on oil and gas to fuel its growth, deliberately slowing down investments in clean energy and EVs by eliminating incentives. How this transition will impact economic growth is a very important question. Experts have been collecting evidence from across the globe, and our understanding is becoming better as new industries take hold. Let's look more closely at the EV market compared to internal combustion vehicles. Traditional vehicle sales peaked in 2017, have been going down ever since. Meanwhile, global EV uptake is happening even faster than experts predicted. The latest forecasts expect electric vehicles to overtake traditional vehicle sales within the next 10 years. It seems the faster automotive companies and countries make the switch, the bigger slice of the future markets they can get. The data shows this is true for the overall economy too. Leading experts say the transition can help economies grow faster than business as usual. By investing in clean energy and resilient food systems, we could produce up to $20 trillion in additional economic benefits per year by 2017. It's not just about money. Inclusive growth could reduce poverty and avoid over 9 million premature deaths by 2050. The transition will improve air and water quality and human health, particularly for low-income and vulnerable communities. To reap these benefits, it's a race to the top. For over a decade, China has been fully embracing the transition as a driver for economic growth. In 2024, China invested twice as much in energy transition compared to any other economy. And as a top producer of wind, solar, batteries, and EVs, they're poised to dominate the global market for technologies for the new economy. Every country in the world will eventually transition, and the approach they choose will have significant impacts on people's lives. Let's go to George Mwaniki in Kenya to see how these choices play out on the ground.
In the city of Nairobi, riding two- and three-wheelers, which are commonly known as boda and tuk-tuks, might be the easiest way to get around traffic. Cheaper than cars, they make about 70% of newly registered vehicles in Kenya. Every year, millions rely on them to taxi to the market or transport goods, powering small businesses and driving the economy. But even the cheapest ride can be costly. Many motorcycle taxi drivers spend nearly half of their daily earnings on fuel. But what if two- or three-wheelers went electric? Kenya is uniquely positioned for this shift. At night, thousands of megawatts generated by wind, geothermal, and hydropower go unused. A driver that spends around 700 Kenya shillings of fuel per day can spend only 200 Kenya shillings on electricity overnight. That is more money in people's pockets and in the local economy. Electrifying transport also reduces reliance on imported fuel, which half of the imported fuel is spent by the small and three-wheeler sector. Is it easy? Electric 2- and 3-wheelers still cost 20 to 60% more than the petrol models. While they still save money in the long term, most drivers lack access to affordable loans, leaving them exposed to informal lenders who charge up to 50% interest rates. To address this, the government is partnering with civil society to systematically bring these electric 2- and 3-wheelers to people who can benefit from them. Initiatives include tailored financing for riders in remote areas, which facilitates local transport and connects people to services. There are also new programs to attract financing for charging stations and training programs to teach local mechanics how to fix electric bikes. Additional interventions include raising public awareness of the economic, environmental, and health benefits of electric vehicles, particularly improved air quality, a major challenge for Nairobi. This approach strengthens the informal economy and supports vulnerable communities first, building trust that the transition can benefit people. As adoption grows, costs will fall, demand will rise, and the market can scale. The choices countries make around developments is a key story to watch now in 2026.
That was George in Nairobi. When most countries look to electrify transportation, they focus on cars. Kenya is making a deliberate choice to electrify 2- and 3-wheelers, not just to grow, but to support the economy from the bottom up. This approach is also necessary in rich countries like Denmark, which produces 3 times more food than it consumes, exporting the rest. The country is building its competitive advantage in sustainable agriculture. The government is paying farmers to reduce nitrogen pollution, encouraging more efficient livestock production, and working to become a world leader in plant-based food and green proteins. Businesses also have the same choices about how to grow. IKEA, the largest furniture retailer in the world, discovered that decarbonizing can be profitable. Since 2016, it has increased revenue by nearly 24%, while reducing its climate footprint by 30%. So what should we watch for? There is evidence from Kenya to Denmark to China that it is possible to deliberately grow and decarbonize at the same time, even today. African leaders like Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed have championed green policies and investment as the growth opportunity for the next decade. Ethiopia will showcase its progress as host of COP32 in 2027. Will more countries set growth pathways that deliver for people, nature, and climate? Countries not only need a plan, but also a practical way to finance it. For emerging economies, this is a significant challenge. The transition will need all kinds of finance: domestic, international, public, private. Country platforms are a way to bring all these different sources together, along with specific investment plans. For example, Brazil's country platform aims to attract at least $10 billion by 2030. By September last year, they had already raised $4.5 billion for forest restoration and bioeconomy projects. Last November at COP30, we saw the establishment of 13 new country platforms, including Rwanda, India, and South Africa. Will more countries commit to aligning finance behind their transition priorities? The world's most electrified steel mill is under construction in Sweden, aiming to produce green steel at the same cost as traditional steel. The project has secured over $7 billion in financing from government and investors who aim to disrupt a massive market. Across the US, car makers like GM and Ford are backing off from billion-dollar investment in EV factories. Meanwhile, Hyundai, Rivian, and Tesla are moving forward. Will we see major investments in clean industrialization across the world? An economic transition needs vast innovation and entrepreneurship in every sector. Countries like Kenya, Vietnam, and Indonesia that aim to become high-income economies by 2045 have also set strong climate targets. They are investing in local innovation to reach their goals. Vietnam recently established government-backed venture capital funds, nationally and in Hanoi City. In Indonesia, a public-private partnership helped the startup WasteX get off the ground. The company turns crop waste into biochar that boosts soil health and reduces the need for fertilizer. Some initial trials saw the 29% greater yields and raised farmer income by 47%. How will countries nurture local green innovation? Choices exist for countries and companies to ensure the transition can unlock economic growth and bring countless benefits to people even today.